Hiya people, we are going to do a sub 20k EV availability in the UK for you. Let's see what we can find, see what we can speak about, see what can get you for that under 20k EV, be it used or new. Welcome people, glad to see you back on the channel. Lovely to get you back. Subscribers are going up and up, which is great, thank you. And if you've not subscribed yet, where you been? Where you been? Anyway, without further ado, we will go ahead and do what we're here to do, and that is to talk about sub 20k EVs available in the UK as we speak, either brand new, because you can get brand new for under 20k, or ex-demo, or quality used. Now I'm going to take it from as low as I can get, which is about £4,000, up to the 20, maybe a tiny bit over. But let's just see what we can do for you, get some info. Comment below if you want to, but welcome to the channel, here we go. Okay, first up is the Nissan Leaf, a classic. It is already a classic. Been out now nearly 12 years in total, early 2010, when you could really buy it as it was on a 24 kilowatt battery pack. Always been a very reliable car, but I'm going to say one thing might persuade you not to buy this certain year of Nissan Leaf, and that was the very early ones from 2010 to late 13 onwards. They made a few subtle changes to them, and they were all made in Sunderland by then. The early ones were all made in Japan, and we reckon that Japanese cars are well made, well put together and reliable. I'd argue that one. You'll find that the British made one is probably better. This is because what Nissan did was made a few changes to that 24 kilowatt battery pack and the complete car. Some very small minute ones, like they put a little bulb light in the front flap where you put the charge in, which the early ones didn't get, and little subtle things like that. And overall, it has been found that the early ones did degrade a lot quicker and have a lot more problems than the late 2013 up. To be fair to Nissan, the Leaf is pretty much a trouble-free vehicle. You might find and go on a few forums and people moan about this, that and the other, but I've had one. My son's got one. He's got the 30 kilowatt Nissan Leaf. It is on this channel. If you want to go and look at the 30 kilowatt one, we did a quick review around 5 months ago. Check out, it is still there, it's still on the channel. So 24 kilowatt Nissan Leaf first. Prices start from about £4,500 for 80,000 plus miles on the clock. But by now, that money with 80,000 on the clock, you're going to find the early ones have got degradation in the battery pack, and with that you're going to find them with maybe 10 dashes on the dashboard when they should show 12 little white bars. I'll show you that here. That really tells you how good the battery pack is, how it's degraded, and if you've got 12 bars, great, no problem, but it's a very big gamble you take with the early ones. Late 2013 onwards, when they made a few more changes, still a 24 kilowatt battery pack. You will pay a little more for these now, you're going up in a few years, and if you look for one around the 40, 50, 60,000 margin, 13, 14, early 15 plate here in the UK, you should pick one up, the base model, not the base model, but the middle range model, for I would say around 5.5 to 6. Now, a bit of advice here for you. If you're going to go for one of these things, go for the Tecna. The Tecna comes with a lot more toys and a lot more gizmos, and it's top of the range. You get the leather, you get the heated seats front and back. It's great. Go for the Tecna. They hold the money more, and they sell quicker when you want to sell it on. So Tecna spec only. That's just me, but that's the way I would buy it. And if you can, jump for the 30 kilowatt battery pack, because you're going to get an 8-year warranty on that. So if you buy, say, 2016 with the 30 kilowatt battery pack in it, you'll pay something in the region of a Tecna, anything from 7.5 to even 8,500 still on the late 15, 16 plate, in very good order. So if you're limited to say 7 and below, check out the Ascenta model if the Tecna's too much, because there is about £1,000 difference between the Tecna and the Ascenta spec model, so just be wary of that one. Jumping then straight to one of the later models, 18 plate, very late 18. They revamped the Nissan Leaf and it became more of a normal looking car, if that's the right thing to say. A lot of people don't like the early Nissan Leaf because of its design. I quite like it. My lad likes it, you know, and he gets him from A to B, and so far, touch wood, it hasn't been a problem for him. It's been a very good car. He's had it nearly a year without zero pain on it, zero parts needed. I think it's still on the original pads, from brake pads. Might be. That thing's got about 65,000, 70,000 on it. It has degraded one battery bar, but he loves it. So that's probably the one to go for if you're a limited budget. When you get up to 2018 and you go for the revamped one, which is here, prices start edging up. Prices will edge up then towards, I mean, the cheapest I've ever seen one was an X-Taxi with 80,000 mile on the clock. The guy wanted 13,500 now, and that was about 6 months ago. That was a bargain. That still had 12 bars on the battery, no battery wear at all. But again, it's a bit of a gamble with that kind of mileage. But that's the cheapest I've ever seen one. Normally, good condition, late 18 onwards to say 2019 and even the 2020, they had 40 kilowatt battery packs in them. Expect something in the range of around 165, 170 miles per charge in the summer, but they will drop to about 125, 130 in the winter. And expect to pay, I would say, anything above 17 for a 2018 with the 40 kilowatt battery pack. I have seen them at that, 17 and a bit. They do a 60 kilowatt battery pack, 60 and a bit, which ain't too bad. That thing will do somewhere in the region of about 225, 230 miles in the summer on a charge and about 180 in the winter. Problem is, you ain't going to get one for under 20k. It's the battery pack where all the money is, folks. So I'm going to shut up about that one because it's a bit unfair. So that's the Nissan Leaf. Okay, let's edge your bets for a Renault. The Renault Zoe. It ain't macho in looks, but it's a real good little EV. Now, if you want a basic Renault EV, and say basic, it will come with aircon, it will come with all the extras, you know, they're not bad inside, a bit plasticky, the early ones, but from 2014 to 2017, they did a 22 kilowatt battery pack version. Very reliable. I've not heard many at all giving major problems. I seriously haven't. But please, if you buy a Renault Zoe, do not go for the battery lease deal. Buy one where you own the battery. And I say that because the battery lease is where all the money goes, and all the savings that you make having an EV, they dive into that lease. And okay, you get a free breakdown scenario. Well, go and buy an AA base package if you want that. And you get some form of guarantee that if the battery degrades, Renault will fix it while it's on a lease. Well, to be fair, I don't know any of them that ever have, and very, very few, I would guess. So stay off the lease. Look for one that's battery owned, okay? Most of the battery owned ones had an I at the back, okay? Zoe I. But if you buy a battery owned, you are buying the thing outright. There is no other thing to pay for. Your car, your battery, your deal. That's the way I would go. With the Zoe, the early one, the 2014 to 2017, I'll put a picture up now. That's the baby. Great little car, like I say, not problematic at all. But saying that, don't expect great range out of the 22 kilowatt. In the summer, you might get 75 to 80 miles. People who say they get 95 or 100 miles in the summer out of a 22 kilowatt Zoe, I personally don't believe them. But you know, I'm not calling you a liar, folks. If you're on my channel and you subscribe, you're I'm not calling you a liar. I would say you couldn't. But hey ho, I haven't owned a Zoe, so maybe these Zoe owners looking at this now going, you don't know what he's talking about. But the 22 kilowatt Zoe, if you get a battery owned, don't expect any more than 80-85 summer, and that can dive down to 55-60 in the winter. It has got a tiny bit of a battery management system around it, it's better than the Leaf for that. But if you're gonna buy a Zoe, jump forward. Jump to a 2017, early 18 model, I think it was early 17 actually, with the bigger battery pack. They then jumped to a 40 kilowatt battery pack. Now that thing ain't too bad. That will edge towards 190 miles in the summer per charge on the range. This is only for people with range anxiety, by the way. I personally haven't got it, but hey ho. Just stop at a charger, have a coffee and a pee and whatever. That will give you about 190 in the summer and drop down to about 150 in the winter. Again, exactly the same car. They didn't do anything on the inside, they just put a better battery pack in it, bigger battery pack for more range. Expect to pay, again, if battery owned, I've seen them as cheap as 10.5, but expect to pay around the 12 to 14,000 margin for one that's clean, low miles, bit of service history from Renault, and battery owned. That's where you'll need to be on that. There is one more I'll mention on the Zoe, and that is, and don't forget there are spec levels of these things as well. I'm not going to go into that. If you're interested in a Zoe, go and look at the spec levels before you buy them. The Ioniq and the whatever, there's 2 or 3, but check them out before you buy, depending on what you want in the interior, but they all come pretty nice. I won't bother with the leather. You don't need it in a little Zoe, but hey ho, that's personal choice. There is one more. If you are lucky enough to edge over the 20,000, they've come out with one now with a far larger battery pack. That will do 245 mile in the summer and about 190 in the winter per charge. That's a great little car, but it ain't 120k. Sorry, but I thought I'd mention it. So my advice on the Renault Zoe, jump for the 40k if you can do it on your budget, and jump for one that hasn't got a battery release. You own the battery. That's the way forward with the Zoe. I'm going to take my hat off for this one. Not because it's a Hyundai. It's getting a bit warm. Sun's gone down, been a lovely day today by the way, for mid-September. Okay, moving on. The next motor I will mention is the Hyundai Ioniq. This has been based off their fossil fuel car, but the Ioniq full electric first came with a 28 kilowatt battery pack. Now Hyundai and Kia, being the same company, being a sister company, they do have seemed to have actually got on top of this EV thing and done very, very well for themselves. That's this baby here. That's the Ioniq. You can get them in some decent colours. I like the dark blue they're doing them. Expect to pay for a Ioniq, which would be a late 17, I think, or very early 2018, 28 kilowatt, possibly around the 15.5 to 16.5 kind of money. 17 grand would be dealer price with a bit of a so-called dealer warranty, which isn't worth a dime, so whatever. Buy private whenever you can. EVs just don't go wrong. I would say, being the 28 kilowatt, it should be good for about 145, 150 in the summer. That's taking it and driving it like a vicar. In the winter you're going to drop to about 110, 120, but it is slightly better than the 30 kilowatt Leaf, believe it or not, on range. Well, that's a slightly smaller battery pack, but they have got it dead right, Hyundai and Kia. Build quality is good. It's not bad at all, actually. It's getting better and better, and the new ones now, 21 in, I've seen the 2022 models coming out. Absolutely cock on. Can't moan about them at all. So that's the Hyundai. Okie dokie. I am going to talk you into now the BMW i3. Now, if you want to know about this thing, this channel, my channel, has a lot to do about the i3. I own one. I'm not going to try and sell you one because they're not everyone's cup of tea, but at 6 months I did a review. It's on here. When I had it for 1 year, I did a review only about a month ago. It's on here. So anything you want to know about the i3, please look on the channel, have a good old look at the post, think about it before you buy one. But I'll give you some very basics now if you haven't got time to look at the posts I did, which would be a great shame if you haven't. BMW made a supercar, made them in 2014 onwards with a small, what they call a 60 amp hour battery pack. Now that thing would do around 80-85 mile in the summer, and in the winter it would drop to around 60-65 on per charge on range. Good thing about it is it has got a battery management system around the battery pack, and I personally have not known one to go wrong really on the battery pack. You can get mine, the one I've got, for now around 17 to 18,000, maybe a bit cheaper if you want an i-MiEV. It's got the Rex in the back, the range extender, which is a little 2-gallon tank of, or 600cc engine in the back. It is not a hybrid. Technically knows what DVLA say, it's not a hybrid. It's not like a Toyota or a Honda, it is not a conventional, it's a series hybrid if you want to call it that, but to me, we're the only country in the world that call it a hybrid. Everywhere else doesn't. BMW didn't make it as a hybrid. Prices for the i3 would start slightly over 10. I've not seen one under 10 yet. I've not really seen many under 12, and that is for the 60 amp hour. If you want the bigger one, the 94 amp hour, which again is the one I've got, you will get 140 in the summer. Drive it really carefully and keep that foot off. You might edge it towards 145, 150. Me personally, the best I've ever got is about 135 on a full charge in a lovely warm day, but I do drive mine rather fast. Lots of poke off the lights, one of the quickest EVs there is for the money. Don't be put off by the size. It's a very small looking car on the outside, but on the inside, stacks of room. A bit tight in the back seat if you've got more than 2 children. The trunk ain't brilliant. Check my review out on the i3. You won't be disappointed if you're looking for an EV with a bit of a backup from the old dyno fuel. I think it's only come on once in a year where I've actually put it on, and that was for about 15 miles because I didn't want to stop at a charger. I wanted to get home. That's the only reason why. The drive light on rails, super handling thing, very quick, comes with all the toys, but again, I will say this, buy one as loaded as possible. Please, bang your budget out to your max, buy the most loaded you can get because they are the ones holding their money, especially the 94 amp battery pack ones. Be careful on tax because if you go above 2017, you might find if it was £40,000 or more from new, you will pay road tax. Be very careful on that. So the ultimate one to own is the very early 2017, before March of that year, registered probably 66 plate, with the 94 amp battery pack, either the full BEV or with the Rex. That is not taxed, and you'll still get all that lovely nearly 200 mile out of it, including what the Rex can do if you want to drive it on dyno fuel. That's the i3. One I nearly forgot about is of course the MG. Now MG have come on leaps and bounds since late 2018 when they came on board selling their MG ZS EV. It is a bit dated to look at, bless them. It looks like something from 6-7 years ago in design. Interior's okay if you go for the top range leather and everything else. 44 kilowatt battery pack. People are saying they're good for over 200 miles on a per charge. Nowhere in the world. I would say more like 190 in real world maximum, possibly a little less. And in the winter, I don't know what the battery management system's like on these things. They are a bit of a new to me. Let's face it, they've only been selling them now for 3 years retail in the UK, and I know they come from a quite historic Chinese manufacturing base, so I can't call them for that. MG being the British name no longer, totally Chinese folks. So yeah, for what it is, it's not bad. It's just a typical SUV. But like I say, they've got to come on leaps and bounds to catch up with the top end and even the middle range EVs, which are evolving all the time. Would I buy an MG? Possibly not. There's only one that's coming up and it's nowhere near 20 grand. I think they're going to retail this at around 36 to 38,000 when it hits the UK, which would be very expensive for an MG, and that'd be the MG Marvel. But anyway, that's another story. Nowhere near that sub 20 we're talking about today. So if you've got a family and you want a cheap EV, I've seen them now. I've seen the early 2018s with 25, 30,000 on the clock. I've seen them as cheap as like 18,250. You might come across one early next year when it falls into a 4-year car, sub 17. And when they get to sub 15 in about another 9 months to a year, then they won't be a bad buy because they'll have proved themselves then. MG has not proved themselves in the UK with battery warranties and everything else like the good old boys as regards Renault, Peugeot, BMW. They've already done that in Europe. MG have not. So just take that on board and be a bit wary of that one. Otherwise, the software's a bit slow. I think they did an upgrade on that though about a year in, mid 2019, because everyone was complaining, so I think they did a software update. Not quite sure on that. Ask an MG owner. I don't know any, to be honest, but hey ho. So that's the MG. Another one to consider, very sub 20. Next one I'm going to mention, and a lot of people will kill me for this, I've got to do it. It's an EV. It was made around early 2011, maybe a bit earlier, through 2012 and I believe 2013 even, and that's the Mitsubishi i-MiEV. In the summer at best. I mean, they're a round looking thing like that. Not my cup of tea at all, but hey ho, someone likes them. There's a few for sale. Problem is they're still asking around the £5,000 to £6,000 margin, For a small car which has got a basic interior and will only do around 60 to 65 miles on a full charge in the summer, and maybe sometimes as low as 40 mile in the winter on a full charge. If you live in a little town and all you do is want it for town driving or city driving, it might be your cup of tea. Personally, I'd stay away. For how basic they are, and at 5.5 grand, they are not worth the money in my eyes. But because by then you are touching on a Nissan Leaf or a Renault Zoe, which is they are two far better cars than the Mitsubishi. Okay people, here's one brand new, and a Volkswagen or Skoda. It's the Up mate, VW Up. Small, very basic inside, not a lot of tech, but some people like it that way. Full electric, low tax, I think it's zero tax actually, again like most EVs I've mentioned on here, all zero tax. With that one, don't expect a great deal of boot space, don't expect a great deal of rear passenger space, but again, a great little city EV if that's what you want. They're all right to take out on a run. Those things will do about, I don't know, 90 miles on a full charge. Maybe 100. I've seen people on forums saying that they've had 100 out of a charge in the summer, but it will drop in the winter to 65. So again, if range doesn't bother you and you're going to use it for short trips, 15, 30, 40 mile either way around where you live, yeah, the Volkswagen Up, brand new, under 20k. I've seen them brand new at 19 ex demo. In fact, I've seen one 18.5 in white ex demo 2020 with about, I think it was about 2,000 mile on the clock. So great value if you want a base EV with not a lot of tech but cheap running costs and reliability. The Up mate. Have a look at one. Well, in fact, it's like that. Not great looking, but hey-oh, that's what they are. That's the Up. I'm going to make this my final one. So you've got a bit of a selection, and I'm going to dive back at Kia. The Kia Soul. A lot of people don't like the shape. It's very postman patty. Even the new ones are a bit square still, but far better looking at the front. But that's your postman your Kia Soul. They're not that bad. I've seen worse. That's the back end. I think it's the back end that lets them down, to be honest. The Kia Soul, very reliable EV. My favourite colour is the dark blue with the white roof. I've seen them under 10k. Under 10k. Never known one to be faulty, never known one to go wrong. There probably is one or two out there, folks. If there is, drop me a comment on the channel. Not the best looking car, but they're okay inside. A bit placky somewhere in certain places, but like I say, reliable. Come with all the toys, and you know, you will get 4 adults in them things quite comfortably. So that's the Kia Soul. Don't be put off by one of those. If you really push the limit out and look around, you might find one under 9. Under 9 with a bit of i-miles. And again, don't be put off by the mileage on them, because again, I've never known them to be faulty. The battery packs are very, very well made. Got a good BMS around them, battery management system around them. So yeah, the Kia Soul. That's probably one of my top 2 on this under 20k that I would consider. But I'm going to give me top 3 now. I'm going to count them down on 3, 2, 1, starting with number 3, and that is at number 3. It's the Kia Soul. The Kia Soul is what it is. Like I've just said, it's reliable. You'll get 4 adults in it. The boot's not great, not a massive boot, but it's okay. It's a great grocery getter, great for getting the kids to school, and you know, you can charge it up pretty rapid at 22 kilowatts. All of these cars I spoke about, by the way, will take a home charger at 7 kilowatts. Number 2, got to be the Renault Zoe. The Renault Zoe 40 kilowatt version. Rock and roll with one of those. Go as high as you can on the plate. In other words, 18, 19 plate. You will get one. You will get one for under 15, 16k. Very easy. Battery owned. Have a hunt round for one. A definite number 2 in my eyes out of the ones we've discussed today. And I say that because, again, I don't know them to go wrong, but they've got a great little range. And a 40 kilowatt battery pack, they're a good deal. They are a good deal. Number 1. I'm not being one-sided, and I think my subscribers and people who follow me on this channel, you're going to know that I'm going to say it's the BMW i3 at number 1. I've got to say this because there's a lot of selection, a lot of things you can pick and choose on the i3. You can have the Rex, you can have just the straight BEV, you can have the 60 amp, you can have the 94 amp. There's lots to choose from under 20k out there, folks. And again, I would go for it as my number 1, but I would go for the 94 amp with the Rex backup. Some people don't like the Rex, it's a bit of weight in the back, but trust me, it's still rapid off the mark. It will still do 140 mile nearly in the summer on just pure EV battery pack without even that thing turning on. Like I say, I've used it once, so if you're not a fossil fuel lover and you're buying an EV to completely get away from it, well, buy the normal BEV then, don't have the Rex. But it's a great little backup for that one time you can't get to a charger. That one time you get to a charger and it's not working, so you have to go on to the next one and you've left it a bit low. So all you range anxiety folk, buy the Rex. That's my little bit of advice. But it is my number 1, and that's got to be the i3. I have no regrets buying mine. Would I have the full electric with the bigger battery pack in it now? I think it's 42 kilowatt. I probably wouldn't, no, because I'm waiting another year and I'm going to go for something that would do 250 mile guaranteed on range. That's only my own personal thing because I've been into EVs, you know, quite a few years. But if you're new to it and the range don't bother you, BMW i3. So that kind of wraps this up. Hope it's been useful to you. If it's your first time on the channel, I said before at the front of this, welcome. Please subscribe. The more on board, the better. I've got some great content coming up pre-winter, and if you've not seen the channel before, check out all the videos. There's about 30 to look at. Some are pretty iffy and merely ones, but there's some great ones on there where we take the i3 and we go out on our own little adventures just to prove that it can do exactly the same as a nice car. So that's what this channel is all about. So please subscribe, like I say, enjoy what I've already posted, and I hope this has been a bit of an eye-opener for you and a bit of help and assistance. Happy days.